Just a note on that story that both Minister Blade Nzimande and NSFAS, the chairperson of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, have denied involvement in a kickback scheme. Well, the fund is still being accused of failing to pay out allowances to students on time. Vulnerable young people say they don't have money to register in order to study this year. Ziniko Mhlaba has their story.
Higher education activists and students have shared their views on what seems to be a reputation of NSFAS annual problems. The Student Financial Aid Scheme has once again failed to allocate the January allocation to some students. And as usual, students say communication is poor.
NSFAS was created to fill in this missing middle. But ultimately, over the years, what we've seen is just issue after issue. Firstly, if we look like not too far, last year, end of the year, we see a lot of funds and allowances being held back, affecting thousands of students. And what I see is humanity being decreased. Students were squatting, students had no accommodation. And when we talk about the missing middle, we're talking about students who come from rural areas.
The first issue is around the management of NSFAS, and that there really needs to be the required skills and competencies in the fund to manage the fund and the complexities of distributing the funds. We see every year that universities have had to wait. There's delayed periods while we wait for the budget votes. And universities have had to manage that shortfall. So certainly around the management issue there is an issue, but also around the systems.
NSFAS beneficiaries are feeling the brunt of all these problems.
We've had this issue where we were having ECP students, specifically in the School of Medicine, who didn't have any allowance, and they were expected to show themselves in blocks. They were expected to show themselves in classes without any meals for like 4 months or 5 months. We looked into it, and a solution was made. And after the solution was made, then there was the implementation of CoInvest. After the CoInvest implementation, the same cohort that we dealt with, that we solved these issues, are now currently facing the same issues. And this started, I think, last year, around about June. So it's been from that long up until now. So they've never had allowances.
Some students find themselves on their own, having traveled as far as the Eastern Cape, Limpopo and Mpumalanga.
As we speak now, this really impacts two processes here now in the university: the academic registration and the residence registration. Students can't be allocated residences because these residences are not paid for. Academics are not paid for. They still have outstanding fees. And my number one concern, I think, more than anything, is just the allowance, the meal allowance. How are you expected to wake up in the morning and show up for blocks while you don't have even an allowance? And this thing has been happening for a while.
It was President Nelson Mandela who once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which one can use to change the world." But then again, the journey towards attaining that powerful weapon is proving near impossible with the lack of funding. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ziniko Mhlaba at Sefako Health Sciences University in Pretoria.